So good afternoon, everyone. In the last few lectures, we discussed many transducers, sensors and transducers used in various mechatronic applications. We'll move further. I told you in the last class that we'll be having assignments plus quiz questions, which I'll be posting on our Google Classroom. And I'm also trying to post all these all these questions. I'm trying to post them on the WhatsApp group as well. So be in touch with the Google Classroom and all the updates on WhatsApp. So we'll move further. We'll go to the second unit, that is signal conditioning and data representation. Now, if you recollect, the first few lectures we discussed about mechatronic systems in general. We had a broad block diagram of mechatronic system. We had elements like sensors and transducers. We have studied few of the sensors and transducers. Then we had the intermediate modifying devices. Let us call these as intermediate modifying devices. So whatever signal that is generated from the sensor, this cannot be directly given to my actuator because this signal will be a raw signal. It cannot actuate my devices. Devices in the sense, if I have a DC motor, my transducer sensor signals will not be able to drive the DC motor. It will be a weak signal. So I require some intermediate modifying devices before the signal is sent to the actuator, isn't it? So in any mechatronic device, for that matter, if you remember in the initial lectures, I showed you one block diagram also. So you have a system. I told you one example of a furnace. Suppose a furnace control system is the mechatronic system I want to design, let us say. I'm recollecting the same, I'm giving you the same example which we discussed earlier because somehow we have seen those heat treatment furnaces in our metallurgy lab. That's why I'm giving this example. You have a furnace which is having a container which is well insulated container. You have the door, you have the racks inside so that the parts which are to be heat treated can be placed inside. Then you have the heating elements inside the chamber, and then you have one sensor transducer which senses the temperature inside the furnace. Just take this example. If I want to design this system, what I need to do? In the last lecture, we discussed about some selection criteria. As a design engineer, as a mechanical or mechatronic engineer, what I need to do, I need to find out what are the parameters those are to be controlled. First and foremost. Now, in the heat treatment furnace, I want to maintain certain temperature, isn't it? We are treating the component by means of heat, isn't it? It's a heat treatment process I am interested. So I should be very clear about what are the parameters. Now, what is the indicator or what is the manifestation? How the heat as such cannot be measured directly. So heat is manifested in the form of temperature rise, isn't it? So the parameter identified in this case is temperature. So this is a single parameter that is to be controlled in a heat treatment furnace. We are taking a simple example. I might have a complicated or a complex system wherein I need to control 4 to 5 different parameters. I need to maintain the pressure also. I need to maintain flow rate also. I have a number of parameters I need to maintain. The complex most is the present era biomedical system, your ventilator system, whatever is used in the hospital. So many 12 different parameters it maintains simultaneously. Blood flow rate, blood oxygen rate, the pulse rate, different electrolyte parameters, heartbeat, functioning of lungs, everything, 12 different parameters simultaneously it can control. That is also a complex mechatronic device. We are taking a simple case where a single parameter is to be controlled. We are talking about how a mechatronic design engineer thinks. So, what is the parameter to be controlled? The parameter to be controlled in the furnace case is temperature. So I'll not get into the container design part, because there you require the knowledge of heat transfer, how much should be the insulation thickness, what should be the material of insulation, how much will be the load or the job weight that will be kept inside. Based on that, the design, strength design will be done of the chamber. Then depending upon the specific heat of the material that will be kept inside. If the medium of heat flow is air, then the heat transfer coefficient of air we need to consider, and based on that I design the chamber. So I will not get into that. We'll just think of the control parameters. We'll just think of the temperature control parameters. So I'm trying to tell you what should be the approach, or what is the approach of a mechatronics design, right? While designing any mechatronic system. Okay. So temperature, that is to be controlled. And then for controlling the temperature, it is to be sensed first of all, isn't it? To be controlled, first of all, before sensing, the temperature should be attained. So I need to know what will be the range of temperatures within which I want this furnace to be operated. That the heat treatment furnace thermal temperature range may be 800 to 1500 degrees Celsius by. Which element or which actuator can generate that much temperature rise, right? So maybe electrical heating element of what wattage, maybe 2 kilowatt, 3 kilowatt, 5 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt. We know the relationship between the resistance heater and I square RT, how much will be the heat generated, how much will be the temperature it will be able to generate inside, temperature rise it can generate inside. So I need to decide what will be the heating element. Now, once I know the heating element, I need to know what will be the sensing element. Now, for selection of sensor transducer, I need to know the range within which this furnace will be operating. Then, what will be the environmental conditions? Okay. Now, what is the power availability? Last class we discussed about selection criteria. What is the power availability? Whether I have got MACB power supply or I need to have a power pack. All those aspects I consider. Under what working conditions this transducer will be used. Okay, so based on that, we select a transducer. Maybe a thermocouple I have selected for temperature sensing. So I decided a temperature sensing transducer, thermocouple. Actuating element is heating element. So electrical resistance heater coil. And the sensing and transducing element is thermocouple. Now thermocouple generates maybe around few millivolts, isn't it? It's a self-generating type of a transducer. It will generate some, let us say, 5 millivolts. This 5 millivolts, if the transducer is giving out, this transducer signal, sensor transducer is giving me 5 volts. If I just eliminate these components, intermediate modifying agent, and I'll just send this signal directly to actuator, let us say the heating coil, will that transduce the signal, thermocouple signal of 5 millivolt, will it be able to actuate my heating coil which is of 2 kilowatt? No. I need to amplify that signal. I need to amplify that signal. I need to convert that signal into appropriate form. And then I need to convert that signal into appropriate form. The voltage signal needs to be converted into ampere current signal, and then I need to have some amplifying devices, and then that amplified signal, or rather in this particular case I'll be having one because it's a high voltage and high wattage electrical coil that I'm using. So I need to have one relay which will put the heater on and off, and that relay, which is the electrical relay, which is electromagnetic based, and that relay will be actuated by some electronic circuitry. This is how I will plan. So, and that electronic circuitry will be driven by the signal given through the transducer. So what I'm trying to tell you is that whatever signal the transducer is generating, I'll not be able to use that transduced signal directly to drive the actuator, isn't it? So I need to have some intermediate modifying devices. In this simple case, I need one amplifier, that's all. In the simple case of furnace, heat treatment furnace. In some other sophisticated cases, I require some other modifying devices apart from amplification. Okay, so as a design engineer, I need to think of the actuating elements. I need to think of the transducing element. I need to think of the controlling elements also. What way the temperature rise should be brought about. I'll try to simplify this concept. What way means what? तुम्हाला टेम्परेचर राइज कसा पाहिजे? सडन टेम्परेचर राइज पाहिजे का ग्रॅज्युअली पाहिजे का ओव्हर अ पिरियड ऑफ 6 hours टेम्परेचर राइज व्हायला पाहिजे? So based on that, I can select appropriate controller also. So I have that provision of adjusting the actuation over a period of time. As per my requirement, I can have control over the actuation part, isn't it? So as a mechatronics design engineer, I need to look at not only actuating part, I need to look at the transduction part, I need to look at control part, I need to look at, suppose apart from controlling temperature, we will take the same case. Apart from controlling temperature, I need to have display also. Outside the chamber, I want to have digital display of what is the temperature inside the furnace. So here, along with control action, what I need is I want to have a display unit also. So graphical displays are also required, isn't it? And that graphical display will not be actuated directly by the thermocouple output, which is in microvolt or millivolt. There also I need to have some modification devices, because this signal that is generated by a thermocouple is an analogous voltage signal. That analogous voltage signal cannot be used directly to have digital display. So that analog signal is needed to be converted into digital form. So I need to have an A to D converter, and then that signal will be given to my display unit, and display unit will start showing me the temperature. Okay, so this is the importance of intermediate modifying devices. So why I recall this slide, because we should not lose focus. We are talking about the mechatronic system in its entirety. Okay, out of this mechatronic system, we are studying different elements of a mechatronic system step by step. So initially we had this overall understanding of a mechatronic system. What is the block diagram representation of the mechatronic system? Then we started off with the study of sensors and transducers, and in that process, in unit 2, we'll be studying the intermediate modifying devices. Those are also called as signal conditioning devices. This is what my first slide said. Unit 2, signal conditioning and data representation. So this is the second part, second unit or second element in my mechatronic system. The third element could be my actuators, isn't it? Third element could be study of actuators. What are the mechanical actuators? What are the electrical actuators? What are the fluid power actuators? Maybe hydraulic actuators, pneumatic actuators, some solenoids. So these actuators would be my next step. And thereafter, I'll be studying some of the controllers. The control actions I'll be focusing. Whether I will be having a digital control system or I'll be having analog control system, whether I'll be using microprocessors, whether I'll be using microcontrollers. So that will be the later part. Or those are the next elements which we'll be studying step by step. So in this lecture, we'll be focusing on the signal conditioning. Now let us go to the next slide. The same thing I told you, whatever I explained. The transducer, it generates a signal. This signal cannot be directly given to the actuator, or this signal cannot be used directly for representation or of a meter, on a meter or on a digital display. I cannot have the transduced signal directly used by for data representation. No, it is not possible. Transduced signal directly used for actuation, it is not possible. In most of the cases, it's not possible. In some mechanical transducer elements, it is possible that by transduced signal can actuate. But it is in very rare cases I can directly use the transduced signal to actuate an element. Right? Most of the cases, I require some signal conditioning device which will modify this transduced signal and either use it for data representation or use it for actuation. Now, what is this signal conditioning? It is the process of modifying the output signals. Please be attentive and listen carefully. It is the process of modifying the output signals from the transducer into what the signal conditioning devices are doing. They are modifying the output signals from transducer into what form? Into usable and satisfactory signals using what are the signal conditioning processes? By amplification or attenuation. We'll study this in details. Amplification amplifies the amplitude. It increases the amplitude, let us say. On the contrary, attenuation will reduce the amplitude. So instead of using the term reduction in amplitude, we use the term attenuation. Attenuation. So what my signal conditioning devices are doing? They are modifying the signals from transducer into usable satisfactory signal using either amplification, either attenuation, or some signals are nonlinear signals by linearization, or those signals are to be manipulated by multiplying with some other signal, multiplication by some other functions. All these manipulations are done by my signal conditioning devices. So is it clear now? It is the process of modifying the output signals from the transducer into usable and satisfactory signal using either amplification. Yes, I have noted only few. There are 12 different signal conditioning processes. So either amplification or attenuation, linearization, or some other manipulation. Now, what is the need for signal conditioning? We already discussed. The signals given by a transducer may be nonlinear in nature or may contain noise. Noise means some unwanted signal. What is the meaning of noise signal? It is some unwanted signal. Suppose we are talking about electronic signal or electrical signal. Suppose it is sensing some temperature. Let us say my thermocouple. It is sensing some temperature. Now, from the surrounding, if in the surrounding of this thermocouple, I have got some inductive circuit which is kept side by side, or I have some electrical field just by that side. So those fields will affect my original signal. What is that original signal? My original signal is a small voltage output which is given in the form of maybe microvolt or millivolt. So this small signal will be affected by the outside signals. And what happens is my original signal is distorted. Now the simplest example that I can recall is if we are not using many transistors now, radios we are not using. Earlier we used to have two bands, short wave and medium wave bands. Earlier radios and transistors. Now we have advanced technology, all FM frequency modulations are there. There is some amplitude modulation channels also, isn't it? Or amplitude modified or amplitude modulated bands. Even if you go today to this AM channel, so to say, and if suppose you are sitting in your room and just from outside your room you have one motorcycle which is just passing by, which is having a dynamo or the charger or the DC circuitry which is generating some magnetic field. When it passes by, we used to get that noise signal in our radio also, isn't it? So my sound signal was getting affected by that external signal. So that is one simple example, just analogous example, what is meant by noise signal. But remember, noise signal did not always generate noise. Noise means, yes, in some cases, if it is a sound signal, we'll listen to noise. But otherwise, noise means does not always mean that there should be only sound noise. Okay, there can be noise signals which will just disturb my original current or voltage signal, but that may not generate noise. Okay, so that is also noise signal. So this is what is meant by noise signal. So the transducer, though it is generating some signal, it might get influenced by those external signals. Maybe some high tension wire, and beneath that wire I am standing and I am using my electronic gadget. The signal will get affected. Okay, so those are the noise signals. So the original signal will be influenced and it will be distorted by this external influence. So the signals given by a transducer may be linear, non-linear in nature, or may contain noise. Thus, before sending these signals to other components of mechatronic system, like actuators or control system, well, this transduced signal is to be given to the actuator or the control system for further processing. It is essential to remove this noise. It is essential to remove this non-linearity. We talked about non-linearity in our static performance characteristic, isn't it? Suppose I have got an electromagnetic flow meter, let us say, or turbine flow meter. Just recently we studied that. Last maybe couple of lectures back we studied this turbine meter. And let us say it is generating output voltage which is not proportional directly to my flow signal. It is generating the output voltage, but it is having a non-linear behavior. Now, this non-linear behavior may not be useful or might not be useful to me for actuation. I need to linearize that signal. So, let us repeat, need for signal conditioning. The signals given by a transducer may be non-linear in nature or may contain some noise. Thus, before sending these signals to other components of mechatronic system, like actuators and control systems, or maybe display unit, it is essential to remove these unwanted signals like noise, non-linearity associated with the raw output from the sensor or a transducer. So that's why signal conditioning systems are required. Some cases it is also needed to modify the amplitude of the signal. I might require, if my transducer is generating low amplitude, I need to amplify that amplitude. So from low to high. And in some cases, my transducer is generating high amplitude. I need to reduce that amplitude. I need to attenuate that. So it is also needed to modify this amplitude and form, maybe in some cases, convert the analog signal into digital signal. In some cases, digital signals into analog signals. Because we have studied some of the transducers which were giving me pulsed or digital output itself. If you remember the speed controlling, the photoelectric pickup, it was generating the digital pulses directly. Or if you remember the encoder, digital encoder for measurement of angular displacement, angular velocity or RPM, we studied the optical encoder that was generating the digital signal directly. And let us say I have a robotic arm which is driven by one DC motor. And that DC motor, the rotation of DC motor decides the position, angular position of the arm. It is given by a motor. So for knowing what is the exact angular position, I'll be having one encoder at the joint. At the joint, it will tell me about what is the angular position of my robotic arm. So that signal, which is the digital signal generated by the encoder, suppose I want to have a 30 degree in X plane. So in that 30 degree X plane, I want presently my arm is at 15 degree angle. So this signal will be picked up by my encoder, and that encoded digital signal, can I run the motor directly by using this digital signal? A DC motor is there which will move the arm up and down. So the digital signal which is generated by encoder will not be able to run the DC motor which runs on analog signals. isn't it? So what I need to do, that encoded signal which is generated by a transducer, optical encoder, that will be sent to my signal modification or signal conditioning device, which is in this case will be a D2A converter, a digital to analog converter. And that analog signal, once again, it will be manipulated, maybe amplified in some cases, because for driving a motor, I require higher current rating, higher voltage rating. So all those modifications will be done by my signal conditioning devices. And then I want present position of the robotic hand arm is 15-degree angular position. I want to have 30-degree. So the motor which is driving this arm is needed to be rotated by that much amount. So the actuating signal will be generated by my signal conditioning devices. So it is also needed to modify the amplitude and form either analog to digital or digital to analog of the output signal into respective acceptable limits and form, which will be suitable for actuator and control system. So this is what is required in many mechatronic applications. I cannot use those raw signals generated by the transducers to run my actuators. Okay, so this is what is the need for signal conditioning. So in a block diagram, it is simplified. In a summarized form, it is given. So what the signal conditioning device or devices do, they convert the nonlinear signal from the transducer. They do linearization. The high amplitude signals generated by the transducer is attenuated, may be reduced, high amplitude converted to low amplitude, or low amplitude is amplified. Noise signal, noise-free signal, the signal conditioning devices will remove this noise component. Analog signal will be converted to digital signal, or digital signal is converted to analog signal. Non-isolated signal will be converted to isolated. We will study these things in details. I'll give you a simple example of isolation. There is something called as opto-isolator. Suppose I have a washing machine which is driven by a motor, a DC motor, and this DC motor has inductive load, means or inductive the windings are there, and it is generating a magnetic field, and it is having fairly higher voltage on which that DC motor is running. And just by that side, I have it also. I have one microprocessor or microcontroller which will be controlling various parameters, and one of the parameters is the speed of rotation of my drum, washing machine drum. I am trying to tell you about isolation a bit. We'll study this in details. Now, when I have my electronic circuitry just by the side of this inductive load of motor, my electronic circuitry, performance of my electronic circuitry might get affected. So I need to eliminate the effect of this inductive load, which is just by the side of my electronic circuitry. So I make use of an opto-isolator, which will just eliminate that effect. So this is also one of the signal conditioning processes that is needed to be done by my signal conditioners. Okay. So these are the processes we'll be studying one by one, because this is also important aspect in the design of mechatronic system. So what these signal conditioning processes mean, what they do, you see, just we'll see a bit in details. Signal conditioning system enhances the quality of signal. Please be attentive. Signal conditioning system enhances, improves the quality of the signal coming from a sensor or a transducer. In terms of what? My requirement could be protection. Just now I told you the example, protection, to prevent damage to the next element of mechatronic systems such as microprocessor from high current or high voltage signals which are in the surrounding. So protection is one function done by my signal conditioning devices. The right type of signal I want for actuation, to convert the output signal from a transducer into the desired form, that is voltage or current form. Just we have seen this Wheatstone bridge in strain gauge. Okay, a strain gauge is my sensor transducer. Okay, so you remember what the strain gauges do? The strain or change in length is converted into resistance change. Can this resistance change be directly used for my display of strain? No. Or suppose we have studied one load cell or force measuring devices based on strain gauge, isn't it? We have discussed in the transducer chapter. Will this resistance change be able to display the load in the digital form directly by connecting a wire across the strain gauge terminals and just displaying it, using it as a display, using it for display of force or load? What I need to do? This resistance change is to be modified into voltage change. How we did that? By using a Wheatstone bridge. It's a balancing bridge, and one of the arms was made to be the strain gauge, and then the bridge balance was disturbed, and this resistance change signal was converted into analogous voltage signal. Now that analogous voltage signal is converted into digital signal form, and then it is given to my display unit, which shows me the force, isn't it? So this is what is meant by a right type of signal. So the resistance change corresponding to length change is not the right form of signal I want. For a display of the force, that I'm using it as a force measuring device. For display it as a force, I need to modify that resistance change signal into analog voltage signal, and that analog voltage signal is to be modified into digital signal, and then it becomes appropriate signal. This is what is meant by right type of signal and right level of signal. So right level, the thermocouple is generating just 5 millivolt or maybe 20 microvolt. Will it be able to drive my heater? Just we saw the example. No. So the level of signal or the intensity of signal is not appropriate for either display or not for actuation of the heating element. Isn't it? I give the same example. Thermocouple giving small output in microvolt or millivolt. So that is not the right level of the signal. So that is needed to be modified. That is needed to be amplified so that it can be used for display or it can be used for actuation of my maybe electrical heater. So right level to amplify or attenuate the signal to a right acceptable level for the next element. The next element is the actuating level. So the signal conditioning processes might have a purpose of protection, might have a purpose of making the signal of right type, or might have a purpose of making the signal of right level. Next, noise. To eliminate the noise, I talked about noise signal or distortions of any sort. Noise does not necessarily mean sound. Sound is also noise, but unwanted sound is noise, or the sound beyond certain decibel value is noise. So that is sound noise plus the distortion signal is also called as noise signal. So to eliminate the noise from the signal, so we use filters as the signal conditioning devices, electronic filters, not our mechanical filters for particle arresting. No. So the electronic filters which will filter out the unwanted electrical or electronic signals. Finally, you have the manipulation to manipulate the signal from its non-linear form to the linear form. I told you the case of a flow meter using flow meter giving non-linear signal, the turbine meter giving non-linear signal. That will not be useful for my actuation part. So I need to convert that non-linear signal into linear form. So these are what are the functions of my signal conditioning devices. So what we have seen, we saw where the signal conditioner stands. It stands between transducer and either data display or actuating elements. And where these stand in the total mechatronic devices, these are the three elements which are corresponding to my signal conditioning devices. Okay. Then what is signal conditioning we saw? Then what is the need of signal conditioning that we saw? Then what are the processes involved in the signal conditioning we saw? And then what are the functions practically done by the signal conditioning devices? I think we shall stop for today.